Bergman and his wife and songwriting partner Marilyn wrote songs for The Way We Were, Yentl and many more movies. Alan Bergman has died at the age of 99. Together with his wife Marilyn, who died in 2022, Alan wrote hundreds of songs, including The Way We Were from the film of the same name, Papa, Can You Hear Me? From Yentl and the theme song from Good Times. The couple were frequent collaborators with Barbra Streisand and won 4 Emmys, 2 Grammys and 3 Oscars. He died on Thursday, July 17 at his home in Los Angeles, with daughter Julie Bergman by his side, a spokesperson for the star said in a statement shared with People. Bergman suffered from respiratory issues in recent months, but continued to write songs till the very end, the statement read. Alan was born in Brooklyn, New York, in 1925. Coincidentally, Marilyn was born in the same hospital and also raised in New York, but their paths wouldn't cross until they were both adults in California. By age 12, Alan knew he wanted to be a songwriter. Musically, if you were Jewish and you lived in Brooklyn, when you were a child, when you were 6 years old you got piano lessons. That was automatic, he told the Lowbrow Theatre Foundation in 2014. I got piano lessons and I loved that, and I'd sit by the radio in those days and listen to the bands. At the time, radio was dominated by big bands, and they performed really great songs that molded the opinions of listeners all over the country, he said. And I heard them as a kid, and I said, God, that's wonderful. I have to do that. After graduating from the University of North Carolina, he started studying toward a graduate degree in music at UCLA. But he took a detour into television, where he worked as a director for baseball games and musical shows. While working for a station in Philadelphia, and still writing songs on the side, he connected with songwriter Johnny Mercer, who urged him to return to Los Angeles to keep pursuing songwriting. There, he started collaborating with LA composer Lou Spence. Spence had another writer working with him, Marilyn. The three met, and, Marilyn told People in 1980, before you knew it, the three of us had written a song together. After 6 months of friendship, Alan and Marilyn headed to New York to discuss a Broadway offer. We turned it down, but Marilyn and I spent a lot of time together in New York, Alan told People in 1980. When we came back, we were an item. They wed in 1958 and welcomed daughter Julie in 1960. At age 5, Julie described her parents' job this way: every morning, my mother and father go into a room. Sometimes there's music playing, and sometimes there isn't. Most of the time they just sit around, and somebody pays them. Early in the couple's partnership, they wrote children's songs, unpaid nightclub material and the occasional single. Their first chart success came with The Yellow Bird, the Haitian song Toucan, for which they wrote new, English words. They also wrote for Frank Sinatra and Dean Martin and composed the lyrics for the 1964 Broadway flop Something More. In 1967, they wrote In the Heat of the Night with music by Quincy Jones for the movie of the same name. They worked with French composer Michel Legrand on the song The Windmills of Your Mind for 1968's The Thomas Crown Affair, and the song won them their first Oscar. They also received Best Original Song Oscar nominations for What Are You Doing the Rest of Your Life? From 1969's The Happy Ending and Pieces of Dreams from the 1970 film of the same name. But their biggest success was The Way We Were from the 1973 film of the same name, starring Streisand and Robert Redford. Director Richard Brooks wanted a song that would work at both the start and end of the film. And he said, I don't want you to change a note or a word, but I want the song to mean something very different when you hear it the second time, Alan told NPR in 2007. So that was a very interesting, challenging assignment. Not only did the track win them another Oscar, but it also won Song of the Year at the Grammys. Despite the sad themes of many of their compositions, Alan said in 1980, making songs is very enjoyable. There's not much pain connected with it. When you're creating something, you sometimes have to go through a lot of stupid or silly things to spark your collaboration. You learn to say what comes into your head. Marilyn added, "We've had enough experience to know that a compromise is going to be worked out. If one of us feels strongly about something, we'll let it go for the moment, come back to it the next day and look for a third way to do it." In 1983, the duo was Oscar nominated for Best Original Song for 3 different works from 3 different films, How Do You Keep the Music Playing? From Best Friends, If We Were in Love from Yes, Giorgio and It Might Be You from Tootsie. They worked with Streisand again on Yentl, which she also directed. "When we did Yentl, we did a lot of research," Alan told Tablet magazine in 2022, "and it helped both of them feel more connected to their own Judaism. But they also purposefully worked with Legrand because they wanted the songs to have a popular sound for a broad audience." With Legrand, they won an Oscar for the film's score. The songs Papa, Can You Hear Me? And The Way He Makes Me Feel were also nominated for Best Original Song. In total, they were nominated for Best Original Song 15 times, more than any other writing duo.